Coming up next on the Red Clay Podcast.
Niggas cool off, fuck ice, I'm trying to cop the crew law.
Fuck you, Ice Cube, that's what the people say.
Fuck a ice, fuck a ice, fuck a ice, fuck a ice, fuck a ice.
Call like Minnesota, call like Minnesota. Need to stay up out the streets if you can't take the heat.
Welcome back to the Red Clay Podcast. This is your host, Dana.
This is Micah White.
And sorry you missed a week.
Mm-hmm.
We had some logistical issues because our city, we live in Richmond, our city is frozen over right now.
Yep.
And it's still frozen over.
It's still frozen over, but they don't, the show must go on apparently. Niggas done disregarded any sense of safety that they have for the fucking civilians and everything like that. I got a fucking ice rink damn near outside the front of my fucking house, so I have been trapped inside the fucking house for the last week, and I don't have a problem with that. I got a PlayStation and hella books and internet, and that's fine by me.
I'm gonna work to do.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But hey, but we moved, so we back. We don't have a topic for y'all in particular, but we're gonna do a little wrap up of kind of what's been going on within the past week. And if you haven't picked up, me and Micah are both really big fans of hip hop, because why wouldn't we be? And there's a lot going on in the hip hop / R&B / music sphere that I actually do want to kind of get more of Micah's take on, because between the two of us, Micah is the hater.
Yes,
like that it brings him joy to hate things.
Very much so. The way that people describe the love and the deep sense of peace that surpasses all understanding. The way people describe their relationship with Jesus Christ, that's my relationship with hating. I feel the same thing that other people feel when they describe what they feel about their Lord and Savior. So,
your Lord and Savior is hating.
Yes, very much so. Save me on many occasions.
You know what? I love that for you. I love that for you, my boy. But the infamous bronze medalist himself, number 3 and not 1 or 2, J. Cole, is dropping his decade in the making final album called The Fallen next week. Or is it next week? It's in February.
It's in February. It's the first week of February, I believe. Yeah, the 6th.
Which since he's biracial, I'm gonna listen to the first disc in the second half in March. But he's finally dropping it, and apparently, this looks like he's gonna retire.
Yeah.
And this kind of actually does, but it kind of brings into other conversations we've had about falling off and the idea of performance of blackness and the commodification of art at large. And Mike, I do want to ask you, with J. Cole in particular, and what he is trying to perform, how do you feel about that? Him being a rapper, him being his place in a titan of modern hip hop, and also his personal and public identity.
Yeah. Well, of course, I don't know his personal identity, only as much as he ever shows us and tries to communicate that he is, the person that he is behind closed doors. That's really part of his brand now these days. And I think that started, around the time 2014, Forest Hills Drive came out, where it was clear he started growing his hair out. You can look back on them old pictures where he has the struggle dreadlocks, the ugly phases, as niggas like to call it, right? And yeah, people there was, I don't even know if this was him that was doing it, but there was a campaign, basically I don't want to say rehabilitated his image, but it was something that transitioned his image into what it is now, where people just constantly en masse would just be saying, "Oh, J. Cole's so humble." That meme started developing, and people said it sincerely at first, but it then became a meme, right? J. Cole's so humble. He just dressed like a regular person. At that time, it was the Ferguson riots were happening, the protests and everything like that, and he was in them. You would catch him out there. I think he would wear a little mask or something like that. People were he's so down to earth. He's one of us. He's blah blah blah. Niggas would catch him riding a bike and shit like that. And that has become that is a thing that he's selling. I don't know the degree to which it's real, but that is part of the brand. And there's something that is appealing to a lot of people about that. You know, it is he's supposed to be like the everyman in some sense. But I think the thing with J. Cole is he never really had like, and I think this is why it probably doesn't resonate with me as well, because I don't think he communicates to everyman like he probably wants to. In his music and his presentation. I mean, maybe in his dress, the way he just wears regular ass like shit. Like, sure, he communicates that, but in his music, yeah, I don't know if that is quite like. I don't think that maps on. And maybe it's even like a falsehood to think that he's like trying to communicate like the everyman. I think he's just trying to be J. Cole, right? But that's an interesting question for me, and I would like to know the answer to that question. If I ever asked J. Cole, that would be something that would be very interesting to hear his perspective on. But like, yeah. The thing that I think, so as we mentioned up top, I am the resident hater. I've been on a J. Cole sort of like hate spree for a long time. And it's a bittersweet one because I used to fucking love J. Cole's music. When I was a little kid, like around the time. When did it switch? I think I was thinking about this the other day. I think probably around like 2014 Forest Hills Drive is when it switched for me. Because
that project, or did you, or everything?
I thought it was solid. I thought it was a solid project, but for me at that time, I was like a little too late. Now to have like a breakout record like that not late into your career, but it was his third album, right?
Yes.
And that should have been his freshman album. That should have been the thing he dropped when he came out the gate, right? Now everybody, you know, like he solidified his sound, he solidified like his identity, but he still like really needed like some time to cook. Like he still needed a whole lot more time in the oven. Like he was a great lyricist, still is a great lyricist, but at the time that Sideline Story came out, great lyricist, but there's not cohesion. There's not a lot of like identity. We don't really get a good sense of like we know J. Cole's perspectives and all these things, but I couldn't tell you who J. Cole is like as a person, not really. And I also don't see quite like a through line that's so fluid like throughout his music, especially on that first album. The second album, Born Sinner, I love that fucking album. I really, really fucking love that album. That was probably my favorite for a grip for a long time.
You got some jams.
No, for sure, definitely got some jams. He fucking teased everybody in the fucking world by putting Kendrick on what's that song, Forbidden Fruit, right. And niggas, because
I know there's a verse out there, and if they ever let me in the music industry, I'm leaking shit. I promise you, I'm leaking shit.
100 fucking %. There's so much good ass music. I know them niggas have not dropped.
Why are you sitting on this?
You know what I'm saying?
Like, even Kendrick, like that little snippet in the All Right video. I'm ready to ever do this.
I know.
Why, nigga, drop that song?
And the thing about Kendrick, I'm glad because I thought the same thing was gonna happen with that song that's at the beginning of the fucking Not Like Us video, which turned out to be Squabble Up. Niggas put the pressure on him because no, we did not want a repeat of that ever again, nigga. You don't get to get away with that. He still has that one song that he dropped. I think like he gave a snippet of like in the middle of his GNX fucking like teaser promo. What's it called? Yeah, bodies. Yeah, exactly. And he played at the fucking Super Bowl. Yeah. But yeah, I remember being a little ass kid and seeing the fucking track list before the album came out and being like, we finally got the Cole and Kendrick fucking song. And I'm listening to that bitch and it's just a fucking a hook. What the fuck?
And then they had the nerve to remember that, I forgot what year it was, that one Black Friday.
The Black Friday shit.
Beats. And I'm just like, I liked it. This is not what I came here for.
No.
It's kind of like when you order pasta and they bring you the chicken and you're like, I mean, this is good, but this is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
Whereas, and y'all knew that's not what I wanted.
I don't know why they keep playing with niggas like that either. And it's always made J. Cole look bad too. Like I think subtly, because when that Black Friday shit dropped, everybody was like,
Kendrick had the better one.
Kendrick's the winner. He washed
it. It was obviously the better one.
Obviously the better one. Like, and the thing is, like, what was it? Cole rapped over All Right. And All Right was like I was like, that fits with him sonically.
He could have did a different beat.
He probably should have did a different beat. But I felt like
Kendrick's biggest song.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, at that time. But I really felt like it melded.
I would argue now.
Nah, I mean, Not Like Us is his biggest song, but like,
yeah. In my head, it's a diss, and it is a diss. So it's like, I think, not subjectively, subconsciously, it's like, I'm not counting it.
No, but I get that. But even with
Kendrick, you're right, it is.
He got Diamond Records, I've heard. He got Humble. He got fucking all the shit off of GNX. That other joint with SZA. Yeah, All the Stars. So, anyways, that's an aside. We can talk about Kendrick on another day. And hell, if it comes up during this, like, I'd be good to go in that direction. But like, yeah, I don't know. To get back to your question, like, I've always just felt like J. Cole has never reached his like potential. And to a certain degree, like there was a lot of pressure put on him when he came into the game. Because hip hop was at a transitionary period. Like we were starting to go into that blog era. The late 2000s, the early 2010s was a weird period because you had fucking like Jay-Z like retiring somewhat. Kanye was doing what he does, but you know, and he was always there. But like I think his album that had just came out was 808s and Heartbreaks, and niggas was not fucking with that.
I would.
I mean, of course, it's a great album, but like hip hop was like, you know, it was at a different place. Niggas was not ready for that quite yet, and it's had its longevity and it has like its babies and shit like that, right? But you know, just thinking about the average hip hop consumer back then, like Jay-Z was retiring, Nas was on a run of just trash albums that niggas still, it still affects like the way people look at him today. You know, Lil Wayne, you know, the South was starting to bubble up and turn into like what it is now. And niggas was hating on the South, like for sure.
Hating hard.
So we was in a weird place, a very weird place. And I remember very distinctly, I don't know if you ever seen them like YouTube comments, like back in the day, it was just like a culture of people that would just like hate the shit that was out, like the popular shit.
Yeah, it was like the hip hop's dead, like.
Yeah. Niggas used to, I remember this very distinctly, niggas used to say like, if Tupac and Biggie were alive, Lil Wayne would be working at McDonald's, and them type of comments and shit. Just
as if Lil Wayne isn't literally one of the greatest rappers to ever do it.
Exactly.
That's that bias that people have toward the South in general, which I find interesting about J. Cole. That not so much now, that would be a part of his identity of like I'm a nigga from the South, and me from North Carolina for sure. I'm not saying that North Carolina is not the South. Like I have to argue with it all the time. It's South, but sonically, like you actually don't bring that forward. You sound like you're from like a late 90s, early 2000s era New York.
You sound like New York. Because that's what he was aiming for. And even in some of the and that's the thing. J. Cole is a weird nigga, bro. The thing about Drake and Kendrick, I think they both all embraced like all sides of hip hop. But Cole was one of them niggas that self-admittedly, I don't know if you ever saw, there was like an interview he did with Lil Yachty when Yachty was doing fucking podcasts for whatever reason, because every nigga does now. You know. But fucking he was talking about like how the Southern shit came out and he fucking hated it. Like he hated the like deep South shit. He hated like Gucci and he hated like some of the shit that Lil Wayne was on. And he described himself as like a hater. And he was on that. He was like a hip hop snob. And you hear it in the music. You hear it in like the sound choices that he makes in instrumentals. You know, the type of rappers that he raps like. He don't sound like a Southern nigga because I think he rejected the wanting to be like them Southern niggas. He even talked about going up to New York and living in New York. He I think disowned the South, which is evidenced by the fact that like so it's Cole, and then there's two other like artists that are from North Carolina that I think are probably the most important. One is Rhapsody, and I'm not a huge Rhapsody fan, but he ain't never done no work with Rhapsody. And the second is Lil Brother, Fontaine and Big Pooh of Lil Brother, who are like some of the greatest like rappers of all time. Lil Brother, both of their sophomore and their debut album, The Listening and The Minstrel Show, some of the most incredible hip hop that you'll ever hear. And they are also kind of the reason that we have Ninth Wonder as a force in hip hop, you know, at all. Those are niggas that he should have been somewhat like associating with. And for whatever reason, like he did not. And I think it's because of like some entrenched hate towards the South. And in a very real way, there's kind of like parallels between him and Drake. You know, Drake. A lot of the criticism that's been levied at Drake, specifically Not Like Us, is like, nigga, you don't like yeah, he has put people on from the city. You know, we don't have The Weeknd, we don't have Party Next Door. If Drake, we might have The Weeknd, because The Weeknd's just so talented, he would have been here regardless. But they are he's tied to their story like forever, right? But he don't, you know, like in his very, very early days, he was connecting with like some of them Toronto like artists. I think he has like one song with like Cardinal Official and some other niggas from there, right? But not a lot. But the thing is, like the type of sound that Drake like created, and it's kind of like, you know, partly like is responsible for like some of the moody, dark, you know, shit that I think really catalyzed with like Take Care. A lot of that shit is something that sounds like Toronto, right? He captured like the sound of his city is what he says, and a lot of people attribute to him. But the thing about Cole is like he hasn't made a sound all his own, and it's not like he needs to. But he kind of positioned himself in a way to be like the like hip hop savior. People were calling him hip hop savior, and as a consequence of that,
People call him that.
I mean, at the beginning when he first came out, yeah, but like he had that like on his back for like maybe a year and a half before Kendrick came out, and snatched that the fuck away from him. But he was the guy before Kendrick came out, like just a year afterwards, and because of that, I think he is in this like he wants to be this like the person carrying the flag for like this golden age sound that is really kind of like a northeastern New York sound. And as a consequence, he doesn't like give any sort of, I won't say he doesn't give no props, because on Born Center, a lot of the beats for that album are like repurposed beats from like Outkast. But that's the easy like Outkast is beloved by anybody. Like any New Yorker that's, you know what I'm saying? Like any New Yorker that says they don't like Outkast is like just either they're lying or they are so like hateful of the South for like no reason that they're not reasonable people. You know what I'm saying? But so that's easy. That's an easy thing for him to like latch onto.
Right.
But I don't know. I can go on and on because I have a whole lot of thoughts and opinions on J. Cole. But I've always felt like he punched below his weight. I feel like he never has really found himself. I think it's still evidence now. Like he's pulled in all these different directions and he don't know what he want to be. And he doesn't know what is like authentic to himself. The thing about Drake is he learned how to act. He learned how to be a really good actor before he even came into music. But Cole can't fake it. But he still hasn't found like his grounding, his place where he feels confident. Because otherwise the nigga would have stood on his shit. When he dissed Kendrick, he would have stood on 7 Minute Drill and he would have just doubled down. But you know, I don't know. He's a flip flopper. It's very strange. Because the 7 Minute Drill shit, the fucking Port Antonio shit, and then
freestyles.
Now he comes out with these freestyles where he's like niggas are saying like people are reaching, but he's very clearly dissing niggas. He's sneak dissing somebody, and I very much think he's sneak dissing Drake and Kendrick on this mixtape that just came out, the fucking Birthday Bash 26 or whatever the fuck, Birthday Blizzard 26 that just came out. So and it just makes people feel weird. It's like, nigga, what the fuck? It don't make no sense that you would bow out of the beef but still want to say I'm the greatest, you know, blah 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 blah. And he's criticizing people for.
You had a chance to show that she was the greatest. Like a rap. I feel like I wasn't there, but in the 90s, you know, when Nas and Jay-Z, and I'll ask my dad, but it, from my perspective, it doesn't seem that story is told. It's kind of told through the music. It's not told. I never get any context, so I don't get the impression that they had underlying issues for so long, and then it came to this beef. But with Drake and Kendrick, everybody knew them nigga. Well, I wouldn't say that Drake hated Kendrick, but Kendrick hated Drake. Everybody knew that. Everybody knew that he hates this nigga. And so when that beef happened, no one was shocked or confused that it happened. But when it's in this conversation of top 3, that was the perfect time to show, like, he was always number 3. It was, it would depend on who you were. It was Drake or Kendrick number 1, and then Cole was always 3. And that was his time to show, especially when he positions himself as this kind of thorough backpacker, like authentic hip hop, which is why, you know, he made that like Nas Down song. Wanted to be like Nas, essentially.
Corny. But whatever.
But that was his time, like, and you know, you're not beholden to you know, making a song, beholden to making it catchy. This is a rap battle. That's kind of his bag, like just rap. And he's, you know, he has good taste. Like, you know, he produces. He recently has been able to work with other producers and find good beats. He could even did like a throwback beat, you know, pull that nostalgia card and rapped over it. Like, but he didn't do that. And now he's sitting here, and it's weird because it's like you try to get in, you try to squabble, you didn't want to squabble, attracted it at your festival, then made like a half, like Port Antonio, that weird song. Yeah. And then you canceled you didn't cancel it, but you did the last iteration of your festival, which felt like an L, and now you're retiring. And it's and he might have had this in his mind already. This was bad timing, but it looks bad. It's like, okay, no more Dreamville Fest. Your art, like, you know, your artist got issues with you.
Oh yeah, with Ari Lennox, I guess.
Yeah. You know, now you're retired. It feels like a very big L, unfortunately, for, you know, one of the. I like J. Cole. Like every project he's put out, I've listened to, and like he's good. I'll never say that nigga is bad. He's not.
For sure.
But you had the time, and I really feel like if you would have like dialed in, would have had a very different conversation about all of this.
I don't know what it is he needs, because him doing, the thing is, him doing like KOD, I think was him like trying to get into like something deeper. I forget if it was the last song on the fucking album, but like the point that he was making is that the song crescendos and it's like meditate, or whatever. That's what he's trying to get at, right? And on that album, and niggas started recording. Second,
like that album is so underrated.
It's a good album. I didn't have any problems with the album. But again, like when it came out, I was expecting like bigger and better from Cole, because this is not the time to come out with an solid album. Personally, I think what is it? I think the Off Season was probably some of his strongest work in like a long fucking time. That was like one of my favorite projects. Where he's like fucking rapping, and he's talking about something. Because like like Fayetteville, is like a fucked up place. And he talks about that. He calls it Vietnam. And that's been part of like the fucking, story ever since he came out. But like, I don't know. I feel like there's always been something missing from Cole. He calls himself the middle child. Because it's true, because everybody just sees him as that. He makes very like, even like his hits, the big hits, the hits, quote unquote, like his radio shit, it's just boring to me. Like Crooked Smile is like, oh, that's cute, that's nice. He's doing something for a lady. You're beautiful, even without makeup, and you ain't gotta get your teeth fixed. You're perfect just the way you are. That's nice, I guess. But you have like the polar extremes, with Kendrick, with fucking what's it called, Tammy song, or any other version of that. I'm sure if I look through the shit on Kendrick's like albums, he has a version of a song.
You got Keisha song. You got Sing About Me. You got which was a smash. What is the song called? These Walls. Yeah,
exactly. And then on the other side of that, at the very least, like even his old shit, Drake, you got Best I Ever Had. I'm thinking like specifically of the message of the song.
Best I Ever Had was that song was everywhere.
That's how the nigga came out the gate, right?
Literally, it's like, hey. And
then he got another one. This was obviously on the radio, but like it speaks to that same thing that I think like Crooked Smile was getting at, about like trying to speak to like women, and it wasn't even like necessarily so gendered in that way, but like the Crooked Smile song was him talking like to women and beauty standards to like a certain degree. And you have these songs that Drake has, Best I Ever Had. You got fucking Fancy. You got like hella other things. Like they characterize Drake as like the ladies man rapper. And then again Kendrick, who was like much more doing like a fucking
deeper.
Much deeper, like a Brenda's Got a Baby version of complexion. He got plenty of shit. And
sorry, go ahead.
No. I'm just saying that to emphasize. I think Cole is very in the middle. And just talking about his hits, he got like 4 or 5 songs with Miguel. Them songs, again, they all right. I don't know what it is about Cole that like he just can't. And he's very torn up and he's very distraught about that. I think that's a lot of what his music is. When you look back at it, like the narrative of his journey throughout hip hop is that I messed up, I'm not good enough, and he's lashing out. That's what Let Nas Down is. You that's the song you released after your first album, is how disappointed you are for disappointing like a rap legend because you didn't think your first album was good enough. I get it. And maybe it's because there's a lot of factors. He was Jay-Z's like first signee on Roc Nation.
Or like kind of what they put a lot of like original like A&R push behind. Yeah, because Jay-Z also had Rihanna. But.
Yes, yeah, but he also had Rihanna. I guess, yeah. Rihanna predates that, but I think he was like the first. He was the first something. I think he was the first signee to like Roc Nation.
Yeah.
Something like that. But like, yeah, and again, he's kind of like a little bit of a victim of being like in this transition point between like pre-streaming like hip hop and then the streaming era of hip hop that we're in now. Because he got presumably like A&R'd. Here's the other thing. He don't really have like a big homie like that. He didn't come into the game like that. Like he really is like super independent. Like Jay-Z, of course, but Jay-Z was not like the looming thing like there behind him.
He like one song with Jay-Z.
I think it's
and he got 2 on Jay-Z's album.
Yeah, it's one on Jay-Z's album and then the one on his debut, and that's it. People have been saying they think he's been beefing with Jay-Z for a minute. Maybe not beefing, but they're saying he don't fuck with him because the niggas don't make music together. But he's also so isolated. Like he produces all his own music. He, He's just so off in the corner for some reason. I don't know what it is. He don't want to play with all the other people. And when the year that he came out, he was on all them features and shit.
Yeah, it's like, damn, this nigga, bro. He was on a run that year, that 18-month run, 2-year run. It's like this nigga's rapping.
It bumped him up to 2. So like, because Kendrick was busy doing therapy. Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but I would say I'm excited for this album.
Yeah.
And if he, rappers always say they're gonna retire, they're gonna retire. But I'm also a little bit partial to double albums. I love a double album. If done right. Like my favorite double album is Big Crit. Forever's a mighty long time.
Yep.
Shout out my nigga Big Crit. But
very few can do the double.
Yeah, I love the double album. I'm excited for it. I really, really, really hope that it's everything that it's supposed to be. And, I hope that, he enjoys his family and he lives a quiet life, which I know he will, because he does now.
This is what I'm saying. I think I am predicting it's going to fall beyond expectation. I hope it doesn't. I'm not wishing that on him, because I believe Cole has a lot of potential. Even the song he just came out with the music video, I forget, I don't know what it was called, if you remember. But like, even that is like, okay, it's cool. I hope it's not on the album. Like, he's doing like some interesting storytelling.
Yeah. The first like song that he released, like this, it was like album 2, disc 2, or disc
2. I think it is untitled. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. I don't know. I don't know if it's a conceptual album. It must be a conceptual album. This fall off thing has been a thing he's been doing.
From what I've read, and like Cole made like a note about it, that the first disc apparently has kind of been like, again, this 10-15 year thing in the making. And so maybe it's kind of gonna be like a retrospective. But the second one, and he didn't call it the beef, but he was like based on the events from 2 years ago, which is like, nigga, just call it the beef. But based on the events of 2 years ago, he said that it re-inspired him. So I don't know if it's going to be about that or it's going to be a new collection of songs based on that inspiration. But I think they are supposed to be kind of different.
Okay.
So I kind of like it's like retrospective going into a current mode, and then that's it.
I'm hoping it's good. I was joking on Instagram just the other day. If it's not, no, but I'm serious. I mean, yeah, you're right. I was serious. If it's not good, if it doesn't have a good reaction, he's never going to quit. He's not going to retire, because he don't want that to be his legacy. I know he does. He cares too much. He cares way too much. Like, it's obvious. That's been his whole thing for his entire career, is that he really cares and he really wants to be better, and he really wants to find a way to cement himself above both of them niggas and show that he is the best of the best.
Yeah, at least for a moment.
At least for a moment. And that's the thing. If he was truly in his heart just content with niggas knowing that he is the best like lyricist,
yeah,
he would have been had that crown.
I would be shocked if there was no hooks on this.
See, that's what's gonna be disappointing, because niggas aren't gonna resonate with that. Like, okay, there's a couple songs in like hip hop history that are like hits that had no hook, just straight.
When you say hits, you mean like radio too, or just like culturally?
Both. I'm thinking both. Oh, what the fuck is the one I'm thinking of? Go ahead.
I'll say Exhibit C.
Man, listen, and Jay Electronic was one of my favorite fucking.
Like, yeah, no. Unfortunately, not from his rapping, but from his other antics. But he's like culturally, that's a hit in the streets. Everybody loves that song. Oh, no hooks. That and that song with Free. We said what?
Hot Nigga.
Okay.
Bobby Shmurda. Yeah.
And there's no hook on that.
There's no hook.
Okay, I'll give you that. I was just say the song with Freeway and Jay-Z, the Philly anthem.
See that does have a hook though. No, yeah.
The hook is the sample. It's not really a hook.
No, it's. I gotta re-listen to it. I mean, but that's what I'm saying. The sample counts as a hook, but also I'm like, is it not like, so we hustle? Yeah. Even I gotta look at this shit real quick, because I think that I got a hook.
And then does Millie have a hook?
Millie, nah, man, Millie doesn't have a hook.
In the Millie, because man, I ain't never seen. Everybody cared about the lyrics, and they was picking that apart.
Damn, this nigga, I'm looking at it. It really got no hook. I could have sworn the fucking "What We Do" song.
That's what I'm saying. It's the sample.
The sample is a big part of it, but I seem to have some in my mind where I'm like, they repeat something throughout the song that isn't the hook. But like, either way, I'm like, Cole has to do something like incredible in order to like each song, and 10 years. See, that's the other thing. It's gonna smack niggas in the face like so much worse if it doesn't reflect 10 years of consistent effort. Like crafting a song is like is very like it is like a science, because music theory and all the other shit, like I spent a good deal of my time like when I went to college initially for like music production and shit, like trying to learn the science of like songwriting, figuring out like hooks and bridges and things that feel good and make sense, and capture a melody that map onto a melody really well. All of that shit is like you gotta really put thought into it, but you also have to balance this thing of like of feeling and vibe and shit like that, so it, you know, it hits the ears right. And you could take 10 years to do that. If you got 10 years of time on your hands, you could fucking do that. But like, that's what I'm saying. If it just falls under the bar, like even slightly, it's going to like, people gonna clown him. It's like, what the fuck would him 10 years for, nigga? It's like,
for this, yeah.
So I really hope he measures up. But if he doesn't, like I said, we gonna get another Cole album by the next year.
I'm gonna pray for him.
Keep praying for him, please. He needs it.
My second thing in the realm of music is Ari Lennox, who I love, dropped the album a week ago now. It's beautiful, like I knew it was. But this, so she kind of came up, and what I've also been seeing online is there was this, so, you know, the Oscars is coming up, and, you know, there's press and all of this, and obviously, like, people really want sinners to win some things. And I remember when Ari was a little bit upset because she didn't win best album or best soul album at the Soul Train Awards, I think.
Okay.
And she lost over Lizzo. And Ari wasn't mad at Lizzo, she was mad at the institution, because, and I understood it, because I was like, this is, yeah, Lizzo is black, but this is not a soul album. This is a pop album. And if anybody, talk about like modern soul, modern R&B, like, it's Ari Lennox. Like her album called Shea Butter Baby, like that's kind of her whole, like that's her thing. And it made me think about this overall lack of knowledge when it comes to people in industries. So for instance, some guy who was doing an interview for some outlet, like a small outlet, interviewed Delroy Lindo, who was in Sinners, played Delta Slim. He called this man an emerging artist.
Damn, that's crazy.
Delroy Lindo. Now, look, I can understand if you, because Delroy Lindo is like black famous.
Yeah.
But, and I can understand you not being familiar with his work at large. However, nobody at 73 years old is emerging into anything.
Yeah.
Like, Delroy Lindo did not start acting 5 years ago and just popped. I like, oh, my first role, it popped, and now he's 73. This man has been acting for 50 years, and it's, and I'm passionate about this because when I first initially went to school, I went for journalism, and I took that shit seriously. Like, journalism is both a science and an art, and both things take effort. So, if I was gonna be on a red carpet and I'm like, okay, these are the list of people who I can potentially run into an interview, I'm gonna do a little, just a quick wiki search. Like, you know, you can't go in depth for everybody because the interviews aren't that long, and that's fine. But just a quick search, you know, okay, you did this, you did that. Let me write some questions based on it. So you did nothing. All you know is that he was in this movie, it was good, and you got the nerve to call this old man an emerging artist?
Yeah.
At 73? At 73, like his first debut, and I think it was a play at that. Again, 50 years ago, he was 22, 23 years old.
Disrespectful. That level of ignorance is disrespectful.
It's disrespectful, and it goes into another thing that I was thinking about and so also in February, Jill Scott's releasing the album. It's been 10, 15 years or something like that since her last album.
I'm excited for it because unfortunately, I do not listen to Ari Lennox. I do not listen to a lot of R&B, period. So it's not even just about her. But I love Jill Scott, horny ass, wonderful, beautiful lady. But I'm excited for this. She is like in the same way I was watching Sinners and I was like, this is a horny ass movie. When I started listening to Jill Scott, I was like, she's nasty. Hey. But like, I'm like, all right, like in ways that other R&B singers don't typically tend to be. But I'm like, okay, go ahead, do what you got to do. But
exactly. But she had did like her first single for this album. She was on Colors, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, dang, she really singing. And obviously, everybody knows that Jill Scott can sing,
Of course.
but you know, I'm looking at her perform, and you know, it's Colors, so nobody's running around or nothing. But it made me think of like how much more goes into performing as opposed to theatrics. And it's comfortability, it's commanding of the stage, and it is also like how you sing your song, especially for an R&B artist, right? So I think rap intrinsically has that built into the mechanisms of the form. But singing, you know, how do you, especially if it's a slow song, how do you perform but kind of just stand still? And that's kind of taught through like an A&R practice, or kind of how you came up in the genre. And I saw this girl on TikTok where she was saying that these new R&B girls who are singing like they sing the song the same way all the way through. They're telling a story with their voice. And I think that's why, because I do kind of see like a through line between Jill Scott and Ari Lennox. Like Ari's definitely a daughter of Jill Scott. And I think that's why, because when you look at certain artists and they talk about their inspirations, and you can see it's not just inspirations in music, but it's inspirations in the form as a whole. When Ari was like, she's inspired by like Diana Ross, you can see that shit.
Yeah.
Or even Beyonce, like she says she's inspired by Tina Turner. You can see it. And it's not totally aesthetic wise, it's just how, again, it's all about performance. And I see a lack of education and knowledge, both on the people that's supposed to help new artists emerge, but also the artists giving a damn about the form itself and doing knowledge themselves. I see a lack of that. And then when I see the song is either flat, and if the song is good, say if they are talented, there's no performing. They sit down and just kind of letting it play. Or if they're a rapper, they not even rapping, they just letting the song play and letting the audience rap. And it's just like, that's not why I came to see you. I came to see you put on the show.
Yeah. Well, and I think that reflects a couple of things. We've talked about like just the dissolution of like community in a very real way. After having been 30, 40 years after like the Reagan era presidency, where he's systematically gone in and like cut all of the like after school programs and all the arts and things like that, things that had been like present. Now, a lot of like soul singers, funk singers, R&B singers, they got their standing, a lot of their vocal training. Like Whitney Houston, for example, started in the church. You know, she was a little girl singing in the church. Same with Lauryn Hill. You know, I don't know for sure the niggas go to church like that anymore. I don't even know if churches really even work to cultivate those kinds of, you know, when they're that's speculation, right? But I do not hear a lot from like your everyday R&B singer and artist that they got their start in the church, that they got started singing in the choir. More often than not, it is also a function of where we're at, like economically, when it comes to streaming and the internet has made it such that anybody can become an artist at any given time. You can produce whatever you want, make whatever you want, distribute it however you want. And that has gotten rid of the necessity for, like in the music industry side, for A&Rs, for like certain kinds of producers. They're not going to invest like a high level, big budget like producer in somebody that, one, is very raw and very like, you know, like not a big name, you know what I'm saying? So there's already not a lot of like investment into a lot of artists, right? Just because it costs less to make artists these days. To just get somebody out and distribute them, you just put this shit on streaming, and maybe you have like a good YouTube video or marketing scheme or something like that, you know, gets them to the audience, get eyes on them, right? And most people, I think, also have not, because we're in the streaming era, we've gotten used to like a lot of the DIY like artists who don't have a lot of the quality behind them. So people have started to accept and just consume that level of quality from people. And it's become the norm. So I think there's a lot of things going on here, but
yeah, I think it's weird because I saw a TikTok, and this woman was kind of describing it, and it was like, she was kind of describing how we got here within music, why, like, especially R&B, like why it sounds the way it sounds. And so her main point was that these artists are not being taught to sing. They just have a nice voice. They're not being taught what it means to be a singer and technique and stuff. And just like a lot of people aren't going to church. And back in the day, you was going to church whether you liked it or not, especially as a kid. It's like I spent most of my young life, or my younger life, in church.
Me too.
It was just like, yes, I'm going to church today. But it's like you go in the choir. Somebody realizes, whether it's the head of choir or whatever, praise and worship, they recognize, like, you have a gift, and then they pick you out, and then they teach you how to sing. So you have a good voice, but this is how you sing a song. This is the reason why these songs sound good. And it's very like structured, and it's like these people know how to sing. Even people who don't have the best natural singing voice, they know how to sing. That shit sound like butter. So it's like they teach them how to sing, and then they make their music. And then the next generation is you get somebody like a Brandy. I don't know if I'm Trish or not. That's not what I'm saying. But like Brandy has said, like, oh, she has studied these greats, and that's what she bases her singing on. But also, Brandy has a great singing, but she has one of the best voices ever. And then the next generation comes, and then the new girls are then studying Brandy and don't know what Brandy took to get to where she was at. It's like a deep fried meme. It's like a copy of a copy. Now the newer girls aren't even doing that. And it's definitely a dilution of the art form, but also I feel that the base of it is people who are getting into this not seeing it as an art form in and of itself. Like an art form to be respected. Because like the idea of somebody coming out with a hit on accident and then in 6 months having an album, like that's half baked. At best, half baked. Because really, probably ass, probably raw.
No doubt.
And I remember, like, I was in a rap group in high school. We was cold as shit. I'm gonna hold you. But we never came out with an album. I mean, granted, we were in high school. But we never project. We just released like a couple songs here and there. But it's because we was trying to really make bangers. We was in my house. We was in the homie's house, and one of the homies we had two homies in the group that had like makeshift studios. It was in there writing rap, just like trying to make it great. And it was in high school, so obviously we disbanded RIP. But it's because I feel like we're probably like the last kind of like group of kids that had this sense of like, oh, this is important, and we're not going to put out this song if it's not great. And so like there was like 9 of us, and between the 9 of us, we probably only released like 4 or 5 songs. Damn.
And this was here in Virginia?
Yeah, it was in Hampton.
Damn, the fucking Virginia's Wu-Tang Clan, 9 niggas.
Exactly, like Hampton's Wu-Tang Clan, like, and it was, but like we cared. It was like, hey, we can't put this. And also, like all of our dads, obviously they're all of that like inception of that hip hop era, so like they really cared about it. So we're going to our dads who also rapped when they was our age, and being like, hey, we got this group, you want to do it? And I'm sure we probably got that pressure from them. It's like, okay, well, let me hear it. And it's just like, and I remember some of us was just scared to rap to our parents, and they was just like, well, that's hip hop. If you scared to rap to me, what it was like a thing. And I'm sure it would have been more thing like if we took it more seriously and like artists. But now niggas get on the mic today doing whatever and putting it on SoundCloud, which I appreciate that the barriers to entry are a little bit lower. Because when they're so high, you do miss a lot of talent. But the other side of that, of making it so low, is that literally anybody can do it, and it strips away the importance of why this means something to people. That plus there used to be like a very robust culture about, like, specifically in hip hop, about how your shit had to be like the best of the best of the best. And I don't like, it's just different types of hip hop now. They've just splintered and become just like different things. And the types of artists that make the types of music they do, I don't know if there's like a similar level of like they want quality. Because you have niggas that are just like, doing it just to get a bag. And like, we know that it's niggas trying to get out of the hood and trying to like just secure some bread. Right. But then you have like, I don't know, like these kind of like middle tier niggas. Cause you have your like drill and your street rappers who are all just making like their own version of like, drill from their like local area. Right. And a lot of niggas are just doing it, one, to like diss their ops, but also to, like get some money.
and then you have kind of like niggas. I don't listen to these niggas, and I probably need to, but like your Destroy Lonelys, your fucking what are them niggas? Oh my fucking god, they was roasting the shit out of this nigga. I might be thinking of the same guy, but your Ken Carson's. Is this the Destroy Lonely? There was like a nigga that they said looked like a fucking like a shoe. They was calling him everything. Anyways, there are these niggas that are like very they sing. They do a lot of the fucking singing and the auto-tune shit, the very like moody, like damn near like black fucking futuristic like emo. And there's lots of niggas like that are inspired by that. You know, the babies of kind of like Rod Wave, and fucking, you know, Travis Scott and shit like that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what their impetus is, because that's just a different side of hip hop that I'm not like super. I don't listen to a lot of that shit.
Right.
So I don't know what be going on in them niggas' minds. But you know, I have to imagine, if I'm being charitable, that they want to be like really good. They want to sound really good, because it's just hard for me to imagine like any artist that comes out doesn't give a fuck about, you know, how they sound. But like because you know, also like I'm thinking back to like the early days of hip hop, like mid 80s, like commercial hip hop, mid 80s, early 90s. I'm thinking of like Public Enemy, right? And Public Enemy is very like raw themselves. And a lot of them niggas up in New York, I mean, again, we're just very raw themselves. And that's what they prided themselves on, is about being like very, very, very harsh and very raw and rugged and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And I don't know how much like the A&Rs back then were molding and shaping them. Because Public Enemy, they got hooks, you know. They're very loud and boisterous and shit like that. I don't know how much NWA, you know, again, they have hooks. But again, I guess it goes back to even NWA, like Dre was in the fucking world class Wrecking Crew. Niggas made music, you know, niggas was in the church, so there was a lot of that influence that was still there. But they took it and they pointed it in like another direction.
Right.
So I don't know, like I'm seeing just like very, like some parallels, because like even though it is very raw and niggas can just do whatever they want from the comfort of their home, there was also a similar rawness that was present in, you know, early hip hop. And hip hop, they didn't even know if it was going to really exist. They thought it was a fad. They were like, this is going to be like, you know, a couple months, you know, maybe a year, and then the kids will be done with it. But it's turned, and now it just passed like 50 years. And I'm wondering, like, you know, if we don't get A&Rs back, which we probably not, because that's money, and the music industry isn't profitable as it is, it would just have to be like a cultural thing, you know, that
the consumer got to start wanting more.
I mean, I guess the thing is, like, I mean, music is not even like niggas not even making money off of it for real, you know. So it's not even like a paying with your wallet, or protesting with your wallet type thing. It's hard to know, because it's just strange. And also, like, the barrier to entry for listenership is also like completely degraded. Like it's children listening. Like once upon a time, you had to have money to go buy a fucking CD, buy a vinyl or whatever. But it's literally just children that got a phone and access to, I don't even think niggas listen to SoundCloud no more, but you know, a YouTube account or whatever the fuck that niggas be on, and that's your listenership. But that is, you know, that's just anybody. It could be fucking a 5-year-old to, you know, a 90-year-old man. And as we know, like it doesn't pay dividends. You don't get paid like a shit ton amount. So I don't even know what could be done, other than just like a cultural standard of like competition of wanting to be better than the next man. But there's also this thing niggas say where they're like, I'm not thinking about no other nigga, you know, I'm not pocket watching, I'm not tripping off nobody else, I'm in my lane. That's the thing niggas like to say is like, stay in your lane. And that's probably ruined competition, to be honest with you, because niggas used to be all in the same lane. You know, everybody used to make like a very similar kind of hip hop, and they all wanted to be, I'm thinking just the 90s specifically, they all wanted to be better than the next person.
You can have both. Like you can be in your lane and be. I think that was another thing of hip hop of the past, is that from listening to my dad, it was like it was an issue if you got caught biting somebody's style. If anybody even thought you kind of sounded like somebody else, it was like, you got to go. So
it was like even and niggas used to be real sensitive about that in like the dumbest way. I don't know if you've ever listened to fucking Ghostface, not Ghostface, Raekwon's Only Built for Cuban Links. There's a skit on there called Shark Niggas, where Ghostface is dissing Biggie because he said he bit off a Nas shit. And what he's referencing is the fact that Nas' Illmatic came out in 94, and Biggie's Ready to Die also came out in 94, but came out after it, right? And Nas, Illmatic is famously known because it's a picture of Nas superimposed onto like, you know, a fucking a New York, but he's a child, he's a baby, right? And he was kind of like he was, I think, the first very popularly to do that. And Biggie, again, Ready to Die, is very famously a little black afroed baby. It's not actually Biggie, but an afroed baby on the cover. And
really?
Yeah, it's not actually Biggie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I found that out.
Is that?
Just some random, you know, baby model. I don't know. It's weird. You know, he was it's Diddy. You know, I don't know. It's weird shit, bro. So, anyways, niggas was getting on Biggie for biting Nas because they both used babies on the cover. Them covers look nothing the fuck alike, bro.
Nothing alike.
They could not be mistaken for each other. But niggas was hella sensitive about that shit back then, like to a stupid, ridiculous degree.
Yeah, no, yeah, that is crazy. But to that point, I think you can do both. You can be your own lane and be different, and I think as you should. Like you should. It's all about cultivating your own thing because that's a part of you being remembered. But you can still be like, well, based on me doing my own thing, when people are consuming my thing and your thing and this and this and that, I want people to be like, his thing is the best. Like it's still, because it's like we still at the end of the day we still all rapping. And so who rap better? You know, but I think that idea of being in your own lane, like, you know, like you said before, my circle is a period. It makes it like you said, it diminishes that sense of competition. Yeah. And it also doesn't allow you to work with other people. I think that's what's so interesting about, like, I love seeing a track list and it's whatever artist, and I see an artist that seemingly don't fit sound, and then I'm like, I want to hear what they sound like. When Glorilla was featured on that on Travis Scott's song Shine or whatever, I was just all like, what is that? I'm like, what is Glorilla gonna do with that? And I heard it, and that shit was hard. Yeah. It doesn't sound like Glorilla, but you could tell, like, and that's the sense of being an artist, is being able to tweak and adjust, and especially as a rapper, like, find the pocket. Yeah. Same thing with like with Kendrick on Playboy Cardi shit. Yeah. Right. It's like if you're a rapper, that's what you do, and so you should be able to get on anything and go. Still be you, but, you know, find that pocket. Yeah. Niggas. I don't know what it is. I mean, only certain people can do that. Only a certain amount of people are talented enough to where they can just be like a chameleon and fit in anywhere. And those are, you know, those are the greatest, like, artists of, like, all time. And I don't know, even back to the previous conversation, it even speaks a little bit to, like, I am amazed at just how much, like, Drake can do. He really does fit anything, and he does sound good doing it. All of his problems and issues aside, like, he really was and if he wrote his shit, and even if he did crazy shit to niggas, honestly, even if he was a shit person and did all the crazy shit he did, if he wrote all his shit, that he would be the greatest. Like, he literally would. I don't think nobody would have no problem with him at all. I think my one take on Drake that I always hold, well, there's two takes. One, he used to be a big Drake fan, and anybody who's saying that they weren't lying. But two is that Drake's pen is ridiculous. Drake is a songwriter. He's not only written songs for other rappers, but singers too. Like his Drake's greatest strength, like, is his pen, actually. And, like, back to what you were saying, like the construction of a song, like, he actually, I feel like, has cracked that code of, like, how to. That's why he has so many hits. For instance, Hotline Bling should not have been a hit, but it is. More esoteric, like Girls Love Beyonce. That song title is dumb, but for you, it's so good. Like, he can make a song, and he also has an ear, and also the whole, like, ghostwriter thing is not uncommon in hip hop. Like, the only nigga in NW, going back to NWA, Ice Cube was writing them songs. Yeah, but it is different. It is different. Like, we know that, and Eazy-E, I mean, they said it in the rhymes. Like, Eazy, you know, like, we knew that, but, like, he hit it. That's what's different. Like, niggas knew he was, like, pop, but people was believing the hype because we all operated under the assumption that, like, oh, he's cut from the same cloth that everybody else is, and that means that he doesn't write his, you know, he writes his shit. Like, yeah, it's not uncommon, but, like, there is a difference. Like, some of the like the biggest artists, like, for sure, Dr. Dre's not claiming to be, like, the best rapper. Even the NWA niggas weren't claiming to be like the best rappers. I don't even think it was about that. I think it was that it was at least from the consumer standpoint, it was understood that it's like, if you are writing a rap, you, like, if you're saying, if I hear your voice and you're rapping, that you wrote it. And that's never been the story of hip hop. I I feel like it's a understanding, but when you again it's the same reason why battle rappers good artists because it's like it's song construction over the raps that they cannot do, and even sometimes even when you rap to Lyrical Miracle, it don't sound good over a song. That's why I personally don't like Eminem. It's like this song is ass. And I also don't think you can rap that well. That's just me. But this song is ass. It ain't about depth. It ain't about not getting it. So I get what you're saying. But it's just like music. So like Pete, for instance, even if people who love battle rap, right? They go into battle rap for a different reason than they go into a song. Because I don't know and I know a couple of niggas. I don't know no niggas that's listening to battle rap in the car.
Absolutely not.
I don't know no niggas who listen to battle rap on the way to the gym. And if they are, stay away from me. Yeah,
they're strange. Yeah,
they're strange.
Shit. Yeah.
So you're going to different things, and so that's why there's like that dichotomy between like Nas and Jay-Z, because I think most people will say that Nas is a better rapper than Jay-Z, even though Jay-Z raps crazy good.
Yeah.
But Jay-Z's music
better. But yeah, like undoubtedly, no question.
Let's keep it a bean.
Yeah. I don't know. I to one of your points. I would say it's having to write your own shit has always been a part of hip hop, but not writing your shit has always been a part of hip hop too. I think we just had different rules for like different people. It's like, we can understand. Like people knew from the beginning, Dre didn't write his shit. Eazy-E didn't write all his shit. And we were like, okay, we accept them. They're in a certain lane. They do this. Even for Puff, it's like, okay, he's in this lane. He does this. But people like the music. They could accept the music. But I like many other people, I can't let go of the farthest that I could go, which I think a lot of niggas go, is like, it don't matter if niggas write your hooks. Somebody could write your hook and you could say the hook or whatever. That's fine. That's cool. You could have help with that. But I don't know. That's the thing. Versus what?
The verses are sacred.
Yeah, dead ass. It's got to be. It's got to be. Like
I feel you, and I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But I also agree with the idea of like Drake's incentive. Like Drake would be in the music industry even if he wasn't like a rapper, like front facing, because he's a good writer and he's written for other rappers and non-rappers.
That's the thing. That's what I would want to find out too. Like if God descended from the sky and told you you get one wish and you can learn anything about this world that you want to know, I would want to know which rappers wrote for other rappers and artists, because there are some. Because with the thing with Drake and him writing for other people, I know he's written like the Beyonce song Mine and some other shit.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot of other Drake songs that he's like other songs that Drake has written for other artists. The only thing that I know is like 2 On by Tinashe, and I'm like, that's 2 On by Tinashe. That's not like a plus for him. You know what I'm saying?
It's not.
I would like to see.
But
I'm gonna Google it right now.
I got Rihanna, Beyonce, Kanye West, Lil Wayne, Alicia Keys.
Oh, that's the other thing. I see. There's also artists that you know, they come out like a little bit, like the information comes out that
Jamie Foxx. That's the one I was thinking of.
What?
Fall Your Type.
Oh yeah, that's a Jamie Foxx song. Yeah. And I don't even like I heard the Drake version before the Jamie Foxx version. I didn't even realize there was a video. I didn't even know there was a Jamie Foxx version at first. I remember them early musty ass LimeWire days where niggas would just have the Fall For Your Type Drake song on the fucking MP3 or iPod or whatever the fuck and just be listening to it. And then I got on YouTube and typed in Fall For Your Type, and I saw Jamie Foxx. What the fuck? And he would be featured in the video. That's the crazy part. I don't know, bro.
But, yeah, that's what I got for music. And after the other more personal stuff. Like I said earlier, I feel like when we were offline, I feel like it would be remiss of us to not mention what's going on in our country as Americans and everything that's been going on with ICE. I'm kind of reiterate a little bit of what we said when we were recording about the murder of Alex Pretti and Good, and what has happened in response, especially from white people, about this. But I'm gonna let you go first on it though.
Yeah, it's really interesting. We are at a very crucial time. I think we mentioned earlier that like, you know, the US has probably looked like a fascist state, or at the very least an authoritarian state, and it has been, but we probably look like that to other countries for a very long time. You know, there's a reason that that niggas in Afghanistan, in Iraq, and Iran refer to the US as the Great Satan. It's just, you know, and like there's the interesting thing about theory, you know, like incredible critical thinkers and writers and people who understand like history, is seeing some of the shit like become fulfilled. Like I have spent a lot of my time, maybe in the last 8 years, just delving deep into theory and trying to understand history, and just trying to become a well-rounded person when it comes to these kinds of things. And I think it's Hannah Arendt and Foucault both have a theory and understanding about, I think it's just called the boomerang theory, basically, that any dictatorship, any authoritarian state, any apparatus that weaponizes imperial power abroad always eventually has that same imperial power and suppression of its people found back at home. It always ends up coming back home, and it finds its way to suppress the population of like the host imperial core country, right? And that's what we're seeing now. But again, there's always this thing, this like asterisk that always has to come up, because it's like Black people are very familiar with this, like indigenous people are very familiar with this, Latino people are very familiar with this, right? Because we didn't just wake up yesterday and realize, oh, we could get our house fucking raided and killed by the police. We didn't wake up like yesterday when Renee Good or Alex Pretti got killed, and we didn't have that realization because we were already living in that world. And I don't know, I go back and forth because saying that isn't super productive. Like, just factually, it's not productive. Especially when you're dealing with a population of white people that are at that place where they woke up today and they realize, oh, shit is real. I could be killed in my home, or I could be killed on the street for doing nothing. And I was talking maybe earlier this week, we were talking about this, and I was like, the people that are saying that are like, y'all are brand new to this, what the fuck are y'all, like, we've always experienced this. That's just people like expressing like hurt, you know, like hurt and frustration. Because again, it's not a new phenomenon. Like the 2 times that bombs have been dropped on like American soil were done at Tulsa, Oklahoma, and done in Philadelphia, on the MOVE activists killing women, men, and children alike indiscriminately. The government has done that to Black people here on American fucking soil, and Black Americans are American fucking citizens. We're not talking about like people who quote unquote don't have fucking citizenship or should not be considered, you know, subjects of this state. These are people that are subjects of the fucking state. And the only times in history that bombs have been dropped on this fucking country were done on Black people. We are familiar with this kind of violence. We are not surprised to see these things happening. The thing that, you know, still catching me off guard is that like there's something about this that does feel like different. I mean, they are shooting and killing fucking white people, right? And this is also being done in the context of a very outwardly, again, very vulgar, foaming at the mouth fascist movement. And that's what makes this feel, I think, scary, like really scary. Again, for Black people, it's always been 2 Americas. We've felt like we've lived under a fascist threat since the beginning of our time here in this country. But fascists are oriented towards the complete and utter removal of the other. That is the goal, for them to create like a purifying society for the in-group. And when we talk about slavery, you know, there was always like a disregard for Black life. But contradictorily, I guess, there has always, during the times of slavery, been a necessity to preserve Black life, because that is the backbone of all of your labor and all of your wealth, right? So again, a disregard and a deep sense of wanting to preserve your capital has been present from the start. Now, when we're released from chattel slavery and we are sent into the world to become, you know, people, to live as like subjects and engage in society similarly in the same ways as white people do, right? there really becomes like just a complete disregard for Black people. And again, I guess there still exists like in some sense like the like there's the disregard, but there's also the reality that like, oh, we could still do something with these people, where you get the reenactment of the fucking like the of slavery by throwing people in like prison, right? They find like loopholes and ways around it. And you know, I guess the thing is that this has been something that's been just like prolonged. They kicked the can down the road after the Civil War by not killing every single like top officer in the Confederate Army, by not killing and punishing and imprisoning every single like top Confederate general officer, by not doing that, they just kicked the can down the road, and that's where we're at now. You know, Reconstruction was a project that was like undermined by the Democrats and the Republicans at that time, and it's been boiling ever since. I
think that's such an exciting in history that we don't talk about a lot. Is Reconstruction, and essentially like Black Reconstruction. It's when like that period actually like didn't last long, but it was partially successful. Like it did a lot of like groundwork as far as like amendments going, and like trying to solidify like basic rights for more people, especially Black people. Like that idea of it was, I'm forgetting, I think it was like some Southern senator or whatever. He had this idea of good Negro government, and he said that the only thing worse than bad Negro government is good Negro government. It undermines the story of what Black people are able to do. It changes in the mind of the country our capacity. So once these Black people were being elected into office and stuff, it was doing a good job for like the things that in which they had. In the South at that, they were doing a good job with the tools that they had. That semblance of goodness was like, you know, we actually cannot have that. And I feel like that's like, I guess, modernly, the first kind of inception of state fascism, like fascism, and how like, okay, we have to actually like destroy this thing and subject these people. And that's when you get like, you know, Black codes, Jim Crow, and even today like voter suppression, which is like what like, you know, does her best in Georgia to like fight up against. And these are all soft power. These are all like soft power fascism. But people don't really respond to that because one, this is kind of only happening to a small group of people, like especially like Black people. But you know what, 13% of the population, right?
Less back then, but yeah, now.
And it's also easy to deny. It's like you have your right to, because a thing that's not told, I feel correctly, or with context with the Civil Rights Movement, is that the Civil Rights Movement is told as if that's when Black people got the right to vote. We were able to vote back in Reconstruction, but it was very hard, as if we didn't have it.
Yeah,
it was a discrimination battle. But it's so now it's really hard to deny. It's like you got your amendments, you know, you can buy a house, kind of, and we're going to ask you to do these ridiculous tests when you get there. And so it's easy to deny and be like, oh, well, there's just a lack of interest of Black people to vote, which is the case. But people only really respond overly to violence. And so now that people are getting murdered, especially white people, now it's causing people to look back at everything that has happened since. Be like, oh, well, now it's happening for real. Because of the violent nature of it.
Yeah.
When the violence is too late now. They've already been doing fascism for decades and generations. It's like they've already been on an institutional level. When you get to the violent part, it's like it's almost too late. So now, what do you actually do, and what are you willing to give up to get back to a sense of quote unquote normalcy? But then again, normalcy for who? Because like you said, Black people been in this predicament. And we've done so much of trying to make it just a little bit more just, a little bit more just, a little bit more just. But the institutions are going to do what they do. That we'll give you this. It's like we'll give you the right to vote. We're gonna make it really hard for y'all. You know, and then something drastic changes for the good, and it lessens the support of white people, which is needed when it comes to gaining some kind of rights for the oppressed. And people don't like to say it. Like I get the whole idea of self-actualization and self-sustaining and like all of these things and doing for the self and all of that, and that's great. But we live in a country as oppressed people where every single system is actually designed to not only not work for us but work against us. And so with 13% of the population, with let's say 33 million people out of 300 million people, we need the other 270 million. We need the majority to give a damn to push forward. But now they're starting to realize like their actual place in this world, in that this country, in that all these systems are in favor of the people who have all the shit. Like, not like top 1% is crazy. In the richest country in the world in the history, top 1% like percent owns 99. Like that's wicked. Yeah, that's wicked. Like we don't have to live in a country where there's like abject poverty. We don't live in a country where niggas is going hungry. We don't gotta live in a world where people who are looking for jobs can't find jobs of anything. We don't gotta live in a world where everything is so fucking expensive, where most people are priced out, and that comes to education, that comes to food, that comes to healthcare. Like we don't actually have to, because we have the infrastructure and the cash to not make that a thing. And so that means that if you have it and you don't do it, it's purposeful. But they're giving the majority of white people bones here and there to be like, hey, you know, we're gonna give y'all a couple of houses, we're gonna give y'all, like, you know, police aren't gonna beat on y'all as much. Even when they get caught beating y'all, it's easy to be like, well, you should have complied. And this is like, brother was on his porch chilling and they just came up and busted in his shit. Like, but like, again, the realization is very, very late. And even if you do want to do good with your new eyes, you're willing to give up. Because these white folks have lost their lives. You know what I mean? Like, because, you know, they did the whole PR package of these white folks and saying how good they were, but like everybody's good. Like they're out there. They were doing what a lot of people don't, out there in the streets protesting and actually trying to use themselves to progress a little bit. And they lost their lives. Their families. And people don't want to give up less, let alone their lives.
It's gonna take a lot. It's gonna take a whole lot. And people are saying we are at a critical moment. This is a moment that has revolutionary potential, but I don't think we're in a revolutionary moment. I think there are very specific conditions that have to happen to push people towards revolution, and it has to be like to the point where people can't be comfortable anymore, like materially comfortable. The power got to be off. The grocery stores need to be empty, and it needs to be fucking cold. Niggas will step outside and ally themselves with their neighbor to ensure that they can get food. If that's the condition that we find ourselves in, and the government is still being repressive and murdering people, that is when you get a spark. But we are all, as Americans, because we live in the imperial core and we extract super profits from all of our colonies and neo-colonies from all over the globe, and because of that, we all benefit from that. Even if you are an oppressed person in this country, you directly benefit from the abject poverty and oppression of people on the other side of the globe, because we are in the core. And until that, and they've kept us comfortable and fat and fed for generations. Like, there are people who again, like there are levels of poverty like that here in this country, and they are often like assuaged and massaged over with like creature comforts, with social media now, because everybody can have social media, and that's a way to make sure that you are at least entertained to some degree. In the past, niggas had to pay for cable, or niggas had to pay for a PlayStation or pay for an Xbox or whatever the fuck. Now even homeless niggas got phones. All it takes is the Wi-Fi connection. You could still find some level of comfort and ignore the problems of the world if you have this. And that's probably, that's one of the most dangerous things too. And it sabotages revolutionary potential in the population. But if we get to a point, because we might just end up, and well, this is the other thing. a fascist situation like this is going to burn out quick. We all see the cracks in the foundation. And fascism, they can't fight a war on two fronts. They cannot simultaneously subjugate and crush their domestic population while also trying to fight off the rest of the world. Them trying to fucking colonize Greenland, which they already more or less have control over via the like multiple military bases that are there, don't make no sense. The United States is being sanctioned by plenty of other states, and trade is being like diverted, and people are figuring out other opportunities and other routes. Countries, states are figuring out ways to do without the United States, and that is just a consequence of Trump being the stupidest man alive and the most compromised man alive. And like I said, they can't fight a war on two fronts. They just can't. But it's like a law of nature. It's a law of like metaphysics. It is impossible. You can't. And the other thing is like to rule with an iron fist, you have to keep your fist closed and tight, and you have to grip it constantly. And the second that you let up is the second that you start to lose control and you lose that grip. And again, there we see the cracks. We see them burning out, and fascism eats itself. There's no such thing as purity. There's no such thing. There is no one that's going to be pure enough. If they remove every single dissident and every single other, that means you and I ain't gonna be here. But if they remove every single person, it will eat itself. Because like I said, whiteness, and we said in the past, and this is a historical like truth, like whiteness is like a permeable thing that you can become. It is a fucking a concept that widens and broadens and opens its arms to anybody.
All for power.
All to maintain power. And the second that all the colored people are gone, then, well, you're Italian, you got to get the fuck out of here. You're Greek, you got to get the fuck out of here. You're Irish, right. You got to get the fuck out of here. If you're not a white Anglo-Saxon, you got to get the fuck out of here. And then, right. Well, you're a woman. Of course, they're not going to get rid of women. Their whole purpose is to subjugate and, just that, to dominate women. Yeah, that's but power. They will always cut amongst themselves, and they will undercut. And the thing is, we also live in a multiracial fascist government, which is it's crazy. Well, the thing about reactionaries and the thing about fascists is they take a lot of their cues from the left. They learn from us. The way that they become successful is by modeling what we do. So in the past, and again, it's very clear that they're racist, but at any point in history, the past is always going to be more racist. It's always going to be worse. I think that's just objectively true. What we see now is in large part a consequence of like social media and them trying to create a spectacle out of the fact that they know that we will all see it. And they have had to, out of necessity, pull back on a lot of their racism, a lot of their homophobia, a lot of their transphobia. And it may not feel like that, but you don't get like, I don't know if you're familiar with who Blair White is, but she is a trans conservative commentator, talking head. And she's a trans conservative talking head. And that itself is just a contradiction in and of itself. But you have women in the administration of Donald Trump. You have people of color in the administration of Donald Trump. They have had to absorb the reality of multiracial coalition that we as leftists have pushed and made the baseline. They've had to do that because there's no way for them to win. There's not enough white people, not enough racist white people. And again, I know that feels like that can't be true, but if you look at the makeup of the MAGA coalition, there are blacks for MAGA, there are Latinos for MAGA, there are fucking Indians for MAGA, and a lot of those people, especially the Latinos for MAGA, have started to see the flaws in their thinking because they got them niggas the fuck up out of here first. But
like it's all their own tools. It's all to quell the overall like populace. Because and I've always said this, but like for instance, like with black men, the thing that is tying us to any sort of like radical, revolutionary, progressive thought is our race. And so like and you can see it in how like we treat other people in our own community. You see how we treat like black women, queer people, queer black people, like all these things, and it's because it's like we actually like desire that power. And so they will poach people from the community in two ways. And one, what you were talking about, of how we're going to actually take them and put them into our infrastructure and help the quelling from like that side of people who kind of have maybe right-leaning sensibilities, and it's like, oh well, they can't be as racist as people are making them out because there's black people in there, or Hispanic people, or other oppressed people. So that's one part. The other part is the black billionaires, like the black elite, where somebody like a Jay-Z or Beyonce, where they don't align themselves with the right and they align themselves on the democratic side and still do the capitalism thing of like aspiration. When it's like, you'll never have $1 billion. Never. Like someone like a Jay-Z, which is literally like the only, him and Oprah, like the only people that I can think of that are billionaires that really got it from the bottom. They didn't have multi-millionaire parents. They didn't have, they really came from like abject poverty, especially Oprah, like being out like a different type of poverty. Like, I'm the only people. But
and even
like,
that, because just the nature of making profit is that it has to be done off of taking the surplus value that other people create. Like, in order to make a profit in this country, just in capitalism, it's just a law of like nature. This is not even like a critique or anything like that. But your boss has to skim off the top. Like you and I were talking one time. We were saying, like if they counted like how much like value you actually made for them versus how much they actually give you in your paycheck. I think the example I gave was, I used to work for like a pest control company, and I used to get paid $500 at the end of the week every week, and it was good money. I was happy with it. It was my first job ever. But I would work from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And the things that I would do, I would sell like packages, or people had already pre-bought packages, right? So each package would be somewhere from like $150 to like $350, right? So by the end of Monday, not even by the end, if I go to a house from 9 to 10 to 11 to 12 to 1 to 2 to 3, by noon, I have already recouped my entire paycheck for that week. If I'm selling $300 things, it only takes me 2 times to do that for me to have covered my check for that week. And
you still got a surplus on it.
And I still got a surplus. I still got 4 more days, and sometimes them niggas would have you work on Saturday. That's the nature of capitalism. They make you do your work to cover the amount that they pay you, and then they make you work for so much more. And that, just to the point about billionaires even getting it out of the mud. Like, yes, they didn't have billionaire parents, but again, that's why billionaires and millionaires, at the smallest level, are parasitic. Just capitalists, again, by a law of nature, are parasitic. They require, in order to make capital and profit, they require you to work for nothing. So the getting it out of the mud thing, even because I agree with you, and I was trying to think of it myself. Like, they are self-made. That's probably like the way to say it. They didn't get it from their parents. It wasn't handed down to them. But like, just thinking of all, and that's probably why people hate Jay-Z. Thinking of all the people he has to have stepped on and thrown to the side. You have to be brutal in order to accumulate that level of wealth. That's why niggas are pocket watching in that kind of way. That's why we need to get rid of these niggas, because to do that, you have to be immoral. Like, you have to be amoral, right? Don't matter how much charity this nigga gives, to how many turkeys niggas show up with on fucking Thanksgiving, how many toy drives these niggas do. It's parasitic. Anyways, my fault. I derailed you.
No. I think that all goes into, for instance, why America is in the spot that we were at. Because like, when I don't know if it was Taiwan, but like some Southeast Asian country kind of had like, what did they do? They like took over the government, like most recently.
Nepal.
And like, things like that can happen in those places because like, these are all kind of poor countries where it's already destabilized, again, by the imperial core, but like already destabilized. And so the means to do that are much lower. It does take a lot of effort, bravery, like strategy, all of that. Of course, I'm not saying that niggas just woke up and overthrew the government, but that is a lot easier to do as opposed to America, because they already at the bottom of the world at that. And niggas at the bottom of your own country don't have like the will to do that, because that capitalistic philosophy, which is embedded in us since we start K through 12, makes us have this parasitic hope that we can get there. It's like, and even like, I have felt that felt it on a smaller level. I remember the first time that I was that I got a job that was a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, came with benefits. That like when I stopped having to work on the weekend, it was just all like I was like, I'm up right now, and it felt good. And then it's like, and the next thing is like, oh, getting a promotion to being a man. Like those little tiny things like make you lose sight of us. It's like, well, damn, like this. I'm still working for the singular company that makes a few $1 million a day, and they pay me $18 an hour. And it lessens your like revolutionary potential, or even just your potential to dissent. Because I like it would be wrong to assume that everybody has a capacity or should kind of be like on the front line, because that's just not realistic. Even to dissent a little bit, it breaks that. It makes you start to think like, oh, like all of what I'm being pimped for is worth it, because I could get there. It's like, no, you fucking can't, because they'll never let you. There's only but so many new ideas that you can kind of get it organically. There's only but so many new ones. And so, and when I say dissent, I mean, for instance, like a small example, but I saw when last year when Cillian Murphy, who was in Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy is Irish. The cast of Oppenheimer, they like met with the royal family in England, and they were going down the line and like shaking their hands, and Cillian Murphy did not shake their hands. That's like a lot of Irish people do. It's like as an act of dissent, of historical dissent, of like, because it's like, you know what y'all did to us. And so obviously that's a small act, but in context, it's like, you know, what could that have cost him? You know, same reason why a lot of people will in their content making will either be like apolitical, not talk about it, avoid it, even in music, like all these things, because of like what it could cost them. And so your potential to dissent also lessens kind of the more you rise, and like what does it actually take for you to have your foundation in the midst of temptation, capital temptation.
I'm thinking about one of the things you said like earlier, you know, like speaking about Nepal specifically, I'm thinking about like it almost would be a better situation if we were like in that kind of situation, where we were at the bottom and we weren't like in an empire, because the task at hand for Americans is like, because of the like who Americans are, like the psychology of an American, the type of comfort and luxury that Americans have. You know, if we propagandize like the world, you can't imagine, like if the call's coming from inside the house, we hear it the loudest. We are the ones that are like in many ways the most propagandized. I mean, not in many ways, like literally the propaganda is for Americans, to not make Americans want to revolt. The way that they talk about other countries, that American exceptionalism, like people talk about other countries and like niggas during like the Iraq war, during the war on terror, they talked about terrorists as hating our freedom. That's why they were attacking us, because they hate our freedom. Nigga, you have colonized and neo-colonized damn near half of the fucking globe. You have subjected other people to terrors and horrors that we can only imagine in movies. They have overthrown governments and killed children on a regular basis since the end of the end of World War II, since the start of the Cold War period, right? They have done this consistently, and shit, even prior. It has just been part and parcel of like American empire to enact its imperial power and show dominance in whatever way it wants to. And because the empire is so big, it is thinking about like how to undo it is an incredibly daunting, gargantuan task. We can only even really start to understand even just the outlines or the contours of this empire, because power is not rested in one place. That's the most like horrid thing about this fucking monster, is that like it's an octopus in a sense, but like it doesn't even really have a singular head for you to cut off. When you talk about Nepal, the reason that Nepal happened is they could just go in and they take the prime minister, they fucking cut his head off, and then they reestablish a new parliament, and that's it. They don't have tendrils all over the fucking globe. They don't have military fucking bases and occupations elsewhere. So say if niggas did run up inside the fucking White House or Capitol or whatever the fuck, and they took care of it, right? You have paramilitary forces, you have military companies and squadrons and platoons that can descend on you from all areas of the globe. They just have to come back home and they can reinstantiate power. That's not necessarily, if that happens in, say, a Nepal or Vietnam or whatever, it's going to be maybe some years of guerrilla warfare and fighting. It would be decades upon decades upon decades, because not only would there be the military apparatus of the U.S. That is now without its leader, you know, and mind you, there's a chain of succession just immediately. Whoever takes up the mantle of, you know, the top guy gets into position and they want to reestablish order. You have to fight against them. You have to fight against all of their fucking like satellite states who want themselves to reinstantiate like American power. You have to fight against the fucking billionaires themselves that also have private military militias and armies that they can mobilize at a moment's notice. They're just, when we talk about, because you can't talk about like the actual what it would take to actually undo this thing that we're in, like physically and materially. It requires a lot of organizing. It'd probably get our channel shut down if we talk about it for real. But the systems in place are very deeply entrenched.
And they're very bureaucratic.
Very bureaucratic. And that itself is a problem. But the mindset, the subjective part of the revolution, the internal, that is also something that is so deeply entrenched that we can't undo so quickly. And that's why this is really dangerous, because we're in a crisis moment and we need people to be ready. And we still are at this point where we have to convince people that they need to mobilize and get ready. And that the fire is happening right now, and we have to convince people that there's a fucking fire. That's what makes this the scariest possible time.
In the house that the fire's happening in.
Exactly.
Like, we got to convince, if the oppressed in this country are in the room where the fire started, we got to convince people who are in another room that, hey, even though it's not in this room, it's in this house. And we all got to get the fuck.
That's why I'm just ready to leave. I'm done talking. You know, talk to who? For what? You know, I feel, you know, horrified at the thought of leaving so many people behind. But like, this is like I said, this is a crisis point. This place is like devolving, and it has been for a long time. And it's billionaires rushing to capture and take any part of this any treasure, any loot that they can get from this crashing empire that they can, instead of trying to build, you know, or sustain a new one, right? It's disgusting.
Or in their words, reinvest in it.
Yeah, exactly. They want a return on investment, and that's what they're getting. I saw somewhere the other day, just since Trump has been in office, he's made like $100 billion.
Shit.
Just because of the and also it's not new. Dick Cheney did the same thing. He set his friends up in all of these fucking positions to help rebuild fucking Iraq. All these different fucking oil barons and these fucking weapons manufacturers and distributors, he all put them in positions of power in the government. Even the nigga that was the head of the company that he owned, he put him in a position of power in the government, and they profited off of war. This is long before Trump, long before Obama, long before even Bush. Niggas have been doing this. And it's, like I said, it's like, what's the point? What's the point in trying to save this fucking thing and trying to turn this fucking thing around? It's rotten. It just is. It's a fucking disgusting, deplorable place. I mean, I love everything that's come out of this country. Black people are a product of this country, and all the beautiful, wonderful things that we can attribute to Black people are, again, just by a law of nature, a product of this country. But I don't know. I think it's time to get out. I think it's time for us to get the fuck out. I ain't dying for this fucking place. Niggas said I will serve crack before I serve this country. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to end off on. This is definitely gonna be a long one. And we're going for a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was our end of the month wrap up. We'll see y'all next month in the best month of the year.
Yeah.
Black History Month. And yeah, this is the Red Clay Podcast. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.